Welcome, dear listeners, to another science story. Tonight we begin a gentle journey through time and space where you will drift among stardust and oceans, volcanoes and forests, tiny microbes and dreaming minds. This is the story of how our precious planet Earth was born from cosmic dust, sculpted by fire and rain, and awakened with the first whispers of life, until it became home to creatures who could look up at the stars and wonder who they are. So snuggle in, close your eyes, and let your breath slow with the rhythm of Earth's timeless heartbeat as we travel together through the grand tale of planet Earth, from cosmic dust to conscious life. You close your eyes and drift beyond the world you know, beyond the clouds of your sky, into the deep and endless darkness of space. You find yourself floating, slow and weightless, inside a vast cloud of shimmering dust, stardust, older than memory, older than Earth itself. Each tiny grain of dust glows faintly, as if holding a secret. You reach out with your mind and sense stories locked in every speck, tales of ancient stars that burned bright and died in glorious explosions called supernovae. The dust swirls around you like a soft fog, gentle and silent. You breathe deeply, and though there is no air, you feel every breath filled with the hush of the universe's oldest song. Your thoughts move slowly, unhurried, as if the dust itself is teaching you patience. You feel the quiet weight of eternity pressing softly on your shoulders. You realize that these drifting particles are the scattered remains of stars that once blazed across the sky. Some of them lived for billions of years, others were born and died in cosmic moments. Each star in its death scattered the elements it forged: carbon, calcium, iron, the very elements that now make up your bones, your blood, your beating heart. You breathe again, and the dust seems to whisper, "You are made of us." You watch as gravity, the invisible hand of the cosmos, begins to gather these tiny grains into clumps. Slowly, so slowly, clouds of dust collapse inward, growing heavier and hotter until they glow. New stars are born from this dance, rising bright in the darkness. You see how every birth requires an ending, how each star's death sows the seeds for the next generation. It feels like a quiet truth. From loss comes creation. You drift past stars in every stage of life, newborn stars flaring to life in pink and blue nebulae, middle-aged stars burning steadily like your own sun, and dying stars swelling into red giants or shrinking into white dwarves. Some stars end their lives with unimaginable violence, exploding and hurling their guts into the galaxy, creating new dust. Each of these stars writes a new chapter in the universe's story, and you realize that your body carries the echoes of every chapter written before Earth was born. Your mind floats farther, deeper, and you watch particles of cosmic dust settle into a swirling disk around a newborn star. These grains bump, stick, and gather into larger rocks, then mountain-sized boulders. Over millions of years, these pieces collide and merge, building a young planet layer by layer. You begin to sense how Earth formed from this process, from these humble specks of stardust, guided by gravity's patient hand. You picture your home as a hot, molten sphere, glowing under a sky crowded with bright stars and cold darkness. You feel the warmth of that ancient Earth on your skin, a comforting heat from a world in its infancy. You imagine volcanoes bursting through the crust, releasing gases that will one day make an atmosphere. You hear the rumble of continents shifting, oceans steaming into existence, and rain falling for the first time on cooling rock. Through it all, the dust, the cosmic dust, weaves itself into every stone, every ocean wave, every drop of water. The dust becomes earth, and earth becomes the cradle of life. You become aware of your own breath again, inhaling, exhaling. You remember that the oxygen you breathe was made in the hearts of ancient stars, released when they died. You think of the calcium in your bones, born in the same supernova, scattered across the galaxy, and gathered here, now, inside you. Your very heartbeat is a quiet rhythm echoing cosmic events millions, even billions of years old. Each cell in your body holds atoms older than the Earth itself. You're not just in the universe is in you. Slowly you drift your thoughts back to the present, carrying the knowledge that every part of you, every cell, every molecule, was once part of something unimaginably large and far away. The stars did not simply shine above you, they became you. The atoms that make up your hands once lived in stars so massive they burned bright and died young. The iron in your blood flowed first through the hearts of giants. The carbon in your breath has cycled through ancient worlds, long forgotten. You feel your mind settle, your thoughts slowing like ripples fading across a quiet lake. A calm settles in your chest as you realize you belong to something immense, something beautiful. You are connected by your very substance to the first light in the universe, to the fires that created stars, and to the quiet dust that remembers every story told in darkness. You begin to sense how this story is not only yours, but everyone's. Every tree, every animal, every person you've ever known. All of them are made from the same cosmic dust. Even the air between you and the stars carries pieces of forgotten worlds. The night sky feels less distant now. The stars above are not strangers. They are family, ancestors whose light has guided your kind for as long as minds have gazed upward in wonder. As you drift through this awareness, your breathing becomes slower, deeper. Your heartbeat eases into a steady rhythm. Each breath carries the hush of space. Each exhale releases the weight of days past. You find comfort in knowing you are both impossibly small and inextricably part of something infinite. Time stretches softly around you. You feel eons pass in a single moment and see how the dust continues to fall, gathering on new worlds yet to awaken. The story of Stardust, of beginnings and endings, never stops. You imagine the dust in your veins drifting onward, someday part of another world, another story yet to be written. As the stardust cloud begins to thin around you, you glimpse a swirling disk of gas and dust far ahead, the cradle of a young, blue world forming in quiet darkness. You sense the start of something new, a world gathering itself from ancient grains, ready to become a home. You feel drawn toward it, pulled by a quiet curiosity, a need to see what becomes of Stardust when it settles into a planet's embrace. Your thoughts drift forward, floating toward the next chapter in this cosmic journey, the birth of Earth itself, where molten rock meets falling rain, and where stardust begins to take on the shape of oceans, mountains, and skies. Your eyelids grow heavy, your mind quiets, yet a gentle question lingers in your heart. If stardust can become a world, what more can it become when it learns to wonder? You drift deeper into the super swirling darkness of the cosmic cloud, the same cloud where your journey began. The last echoes of Stardust stories still hum in your thoughts, their whispers fading into the quiet expanse. You feel a subtle pull, like a soft current guiding you toward a place where something new is stirring. The darkness here is not empty. It is full of promise. The scattered dust and gas shimmer faintly, lit from within by the first flickers of a newborn sun. It's a soft glow, golden and warm, spreading like dawn through a fog of stars. You hover in the vastness, and the patterns of the dust begin to change before your eyes. Where once there was chaos, there is now a graceful dance. Particles move with purpose, tracing invisible spirals around a growing centre of light. Gravity, the silent conductor, orchestrates every swirl and tumble. You watch as grains of ancient cosmic dust collide gently, sticking together in slow-motion ballets. Small pebbles gather, become rocks, and then mountains of stone spinning and clumping into a rough newborn planet. You sense the warmth of this infant Earth rising from its heart, a molten, restless sphere glowing in the cold cradle of space. Streams of lava run like bright rivers over a surface still forming itself. Volcanoes erupt in silent fireworks, sending plumes of minerals into the dark. Your body feels the young Earth's heartbeat, slow and strong, echoing through the swirling dust. You imagine standing on its surface, the ground trembling beneath your feet, skies choked with thick clouds of gas, and stars peeking through the gaps in a restless sky. You drift lower, closer, until you can almost taste the bitter minerals rising with each eruption. The air is harsh, full of sulphur and steam, heavy with the scent of rock turning to stone. You see lightning flash across the newborn skies, each bolt a spark in the endless night. The storms rage for centuries, sculpting valleys and mountains in their wake. Every drop of molten rain carves channels into the cooling crust. You sense the energy of creation vibrating in every gust of wind, every quake, every rolling thunder. Time stretches in soft, endless waves. You watch as millions of years slip past like moments. Continents drift apart and crash together again in slow-motion collisions. Each movement reshapes the surface of this forming world, building new ridges, tearing deep trenches. You see ancient mountain ranges rise like jagged teeth only to crumble into dust, carried by rivers that do not yet exist. Your heart beats in time with this patient dance, every pulse a note in Earth's growing song. You drift upward through thick, churning clouds. Above you the sun shines brighter, clearing the haze. Its rays pierce the atmosphere, catching droplets of water and making them sparkle like diamonds in the air. Rain begins to fall, the first soft rain, cooling the molten skin of Earth. Steam hisses and swirls into the sky. Pools of water gather in hollows, shimmering in the newborn light. Lakes form, then cease as the rains continue, day after day, year after year, until vast oceans spread across the world. You follow the path of these first waters, feeling them shape the land beneath. The rain smooths the sharp rocks, carves valleys, and leaves behind minerals dissolved from volcanic stone. You sense how every drop carries the memory of stardust, how water, too, was a gift from comets and cosmic ice that once drifted through empty space before falling to Earth. This water is the gentle hand that will one day cradle life. You drift beneath the surface of the early oceans where darkness swallows the light. Here the world is quiet, cold and still. The water is rich with minerals and elements, swirling in delicate currents. You sense the building blocks of life dissolving and mixing, gathering in deep places where warmth seeps from Earth's core. You imagine the dance of molecules colliding and combining, each meeting a small miracle of possibility. The silence here is full of potential, like a hushed breath waiting to be exhaled. You rise again into the open air, your mind lingering on the sights below. The land is still barren, scarred by rivers of lava and battered by endless storms, but already it begins to look familiar. There are hints of continents, shallow seas, and islands. You see how the crust, once so fragile, has thickened and cooled, forming tectonic plates that will one day drift like slow, massive rafts upon the mantle. The stage is set, you realize, for something extraordinary. You drift higher, where you can see the curve of the planet in a single glance. The Earth spins slowly below you, a swirling marble of browns, reds and greys. There is no green yet, no blue oceans to reflect the skies, but the shape of a world is there, a promise of what it will become. You feel a quiet pride stirring in your chest, as if you too are part of this long and careful crafting. Your gaze lifts to the sun, now shining steady and strong. It feeds the Earth with light and warmth, anchoring the planet's orbit with its gravity. You sense the delicate balance that holds everything together. Earth's distance just right to allow water to remain liquid, the tilt of its axis to create gentle seasons, the moon forming soon after, stabilizing the planet's spin. You realize how every small detail must fall into place for a world to be habitable. It feels like a quiet miracle unfolding. Your thoughts drift to the cosmic dust still falling gently upon Earth, a slow rain of elements from the dark of space. Each grain adds a tiny gift: phosphorus, sulfur, carbon, rare elements crucial for life. You picture these grains settling into puddles, cracks and pools, waiting for the moment when conditions are right. You sense a quiet patience in the universe, as if it knows the time will come when simple molecules begin to stir. You listen to the slow rhythm of Earth's molten heart beneath your feet beating in time with your own, the pulse of a world finding its shape, its breath, its first quiet song. You imagine how the coming eons will see oceans teeming with simple life, how those lives will change the atmosphere, filling it with oxygen, preparing the skies for creatures yet to dream of stars. The storms begin to soften, the lightning grows less frequent, the skies clear in patches, revealing a softer blue where once there was only dark and smoke. The newborn sun warms the land, the seas shimmer with a new calm. A thin veil of clouds drifts lazily across the skies. You sense how Earth, still so young, begins to rest after eons of fury, how it gathers strength for the next chapter of its story. You drift close to the ground again. You feel the hardening crust beneath you, sense the stability forming beneath restless waves of lava and stone. You hear the first whispers of wind moving gently over cooled plains, a quiet lullaby of breezes carrying mineral scents. You imagine standing barefoot on this fresh ground, toes touching stone still warm from the inside of the earth, eyes wide with wonder at the sky's changing colours. You close your eyes and feel how every element around you is part of the same cosmic tale. Water from distant comets, iron from dying stars, carbon from ancient supernovae. You remember that the dust you carry in your bones also drifted in these skies, settling slowly to help shape the very ground you stand upon. Your thoughts grow soft as you drift higher one last time. From this quiet height, you see the earth, still raw but undeniably beautiful, like a diamond forming under unimaginable pressure. You feel hope in the stillness, sensing that something extraordinary waits just beyond the horizon of time. A spark that will turn chemistry into biology, that will set life in motion across this restless world. Your breath slows, matching the patient heartbeat of Earth itself. A question begins to form in the quiet of your mind, soft as a sigh. What secret will the first drops of water and the rarest grains of stardust reveal when they meet in the deep and dark places of the world? You linger in the quiet space above the newborn Earth, the soft question from your heart still drifting in the air. What secret will the first drops of water and the rarest grains of stardust reveal when they meet in the deep and dark places of the world. As your thoughts settle into the silence, you begin to sense a subtle movement, a slow gathering of clouds, thick and heavy with moisture. Skies once filled with choking gases now shimmer with the promise of rain. You watch as the first raindrops fall, gentle as whispers, landing on rock still warm from Earth's restless heart. The rain does not come as a brief shower, but as an endless storm. It pours for centuries, for millennia, carving channels through jagged mountains, softening sharp edges, and gathering into pools that become lakes. You drift downward, feeling each drop against your skin, each one carrying stories from beyond the stars. These raindrops are not merely water, they are the echoes of comets and cosmic ice, gifts from ancient wanderers who travelled across the cold dark to find their place on this young world. Your mind floats across the newly forming rivers, watching them weave silver ribbons through barren plains. These streams join together, swelling into mighty currents that carve deep valleys. You see water finding its way to low places, collecting in basins that grow into vast, restless seas. The rain continues its patient work, sculpting the face of the world drop by drop, softening the harshness of molten rock, washing minerals from mountain to sea. Every current, every eddy, every ripple carries pieces of Earth's crust, dissolving and spreading the ingredients that will soon dance together as life. You drift lower, your feet brushing the surface of these first oceans, feeling the delicate shiver of waves. The seas are dark, rich with dissolved elements carried from the depths of Earth's crust. The water is heavy with iron, sulfur, carbon, phosphorus, a quiet alchemy waiting to awaken. You sense the subtle warmth rising from cracks in the ocean floor, where Earth's heat leaks into the blackness, stirring the restless chemistry of life's first ingredients. You float deeper into the ocean, following a shaft of faint light until it fades completely into a darkness so pure it feels like the universe itself. Down here, at the ocean's floor, you find towering structures forming around warm vents. They rise like cathedrals in the dark, built by minerals crystallizing from superheated water. These are Earth's first laboratories, silent and hidden, where the building blocks of life gather and swirl. You watch molecules drift into the warmth, bump together, break apart and recombine in endless, patient cycles. You begin to sense how every drop of water carries a cosmic memory. Hydrogen atoms born during the Big Bang, oxygen forged in the hearts of ancient stars. Comets wandering the solar system delivered ice made from these elements, and as they crashed into the young Earth, they left behind reservoirs of frozen possibility. Each comet's icy core held more than water. It carried organic compounds, simple but precious, adding new notes to Earth's chemical symphony. Your thoughts move like slow currents, imagining how the rains and comets together wove the seas into existence. You see how Earth's gravity, patient and steady, kept this water from drifting back into space. You realize how lucky this balance was, how a slightly smaller world would have lost its water to the vacuum, and a slightly larger world might have never cooled enough for rain to fall. Every drop of water is a quiet testament to the delicate dance of chance and physics. You drift along coastlines that shift and reshape with every storm. The tides push and pull at the young continents, sculpting sandy beaches, rocky shores, and hidden tide pools. In these tide pools you feel how water evaporates under the young sun, leaving behind saltier and saltier solutions. Here molecules gather ever more densely, increasing the chance that they will meet in just the right way to build something new. Each drop of briny water becomes a tiny workshop, a crucible of possibility. You rest on the waves, breathing in the scent of minerals carried on the wind. The ocean's surface shimmers with rainbows of oil-like sheen as simple hydrocarbons drift and collect. The smell is sharp and strange, a reminder that life has not yet begun but is waiting, like a seed beneath the soil. You listen to the slow, rolling sigh of waves, their rhythm soft and hypnotic. You feel your own breath matching their rise and fall, your mind surrendering to the lullaby of water cradling a restless world. You picture comets streaking through space, their icy tails glowing as they near the sun. Some miss Earth entirely, wandering back to the outer solar system, but others find their way, pulled by gravity's quiet insistence, striking the surface in explosions of ice and stone. With each impact, new water arrives, new organics scatter into the atmosphere and seas. You sense how these cosmic messengers shape the ocean's volume, how they delivered keys to unlock life's first steps. You drift beneath storm clouds heavy with vapor, hearing rain pound the seas below. You imagine lightning crackling across the sky in webs of white light. Each flash reaches into the waters, splitting molecules, creating reactive fragments that will bind into amino acids, sugars, lipids, the first whispers of biology. You see steam rise from volcanic islands where fresh lava meets waves, releasing gases into the skies, feeding clouds with yet more water. You feel the ocean's hunger for light. As the skies clear after endless storms, sunlight begins to pierce the cloud layers, reflecting in dazzling dances across the water's surface. Sunlight warms the upper layers of the seas, stirring gentle currents that carry nutrients up and down, mixing and churning the ocean's hidden wealth. This light, too, is a gift from the stars, a quiet force that will one day power photosynthesis, colouring the seas with green life. You drift along underwater canyons, deeper than mountains are tall, carved by currents that never rest. Here darkness is absolute, but life's potential gathers in stillness. Tiny crystals settle from above, layer upon layer, like snow. You sense how time moves differently here, slower, quieter, patient. You feel your own thoughts slowing, your mind softening with the rhythm of deep water. You rise again, gliding along the first continental shelves where shallow seas lap at new land. You see how tides stir the sand, how waves create foaming patterns along the shorelines. Each cycle of rise and fall shapes the chemistry of the shallow ocean, pushing and pulling molecules together, teasing them toward complexity. You sense that in these places, tide pools, estuaries, coastal flats, the first fragile threads of life will soon emerge, spun from stardust and water's endless motion. You float high above the world once more, seeing Earth now dressed in shimmering blue oceans that cover much of its surface. The seas gleam under the young sun, a vast mirror reflecting the promise of things yet to come. You feel the quiet hope that swims in every wave, the sense that something extraordinary is almost ready to awaken. Earth's surface is no longer just rock and storm, it is a world of flowing, churning, ever-changing water, a world alive with possibility. You listen as the oceans whisper stories of ancient comets, of raindrops falling for millions of years, of minerals dissolving and drifting toward destiny. The seas cradle every grain of cosmic dust that landed here, every spark of energy that split molecules into pieces that might someday live. You sense how the oceans are Earth's memory, remembering every lightning strike, every comet's gift, every drop of rain that helped shape this watery world. Your breath slows, matching the slow sigh of waves rolling across the vast, empty beaches. You feel your heart ease into the ocean's quiet pulse, your thoughts drifting like foam across dark water. The world is calm now, its storms softened, its seas wide and waiting. The air is warm and moist, filled with scents of salt and stone, a reminder of the restless past that gave birth to this tranquil moment. As you linger in the hush above the blue world, your thoughts reach forward into the waiting silence. What dreams will these oceans carry when the first breath of life stirs beneath their waves? Your thoughts linger on the quiet oceans, their surfaces calm and waiting, the air warm with the scents of salt and stone. Yet as you drift closer to the land, you feel a subtle tremor beneath your feet, a gentle reminder that Earth's peace is never permanent. The crust beneath the waves shivers, deep cracks spreading where tectonic plates pull and collide. Your mind follows these silent fractures, sensing heat rising from below, a restless breath stirring in Earth's heart. You rise slowly through dark clouds that gather above a jagged mountain range. The sky glows with an eerie orange light as rivers of lava pour down steep slopes. You hover at the rim of a volcano, peering into a churning cauldron of molten rock. Heat radiates upward in shimmering waves, wrapping around you like a heavy blanket. Each breath you take tastes of sulfur and stone, a sharp scent that speaks of the planet's deep hidden fires. You stand in awe as the volcano exhales with sudden fury. A roar splits the quiet, and a plume of ash explodes into the sky. The cloud mushrooms upward, blotting out the sun and turning day into night. Ash drifts around you like midnight snow, dark flakes swirling gently through hot winds before settling on land and sea. You watch as each grain of ash carries minerals the oceans crave: phosphorus, potassium, iron, gifts from Earth's burning core. You drift over a landscape reshaped by eruptions, rivers of lava cooling into black rock, cracks splitting plains into jagged mosaics. You sense how these violent outbursts are more than destruction. They are acts of renewal. Fresh stone weathers into new soil, ash spread life-giving elements across barren lands. The volcano's fury becomes Earth's promise, each eruption a step in preparing the world for the first fragile sparks of life. Your mind travels with drifting ash, carried on winds that sweep across continents and seas. These fine particles fall into oceans, dissolving slowly into the dark waters below. You see nutrients spreading through the waves, feeding sun chemical dances at the ocean floor. Each speck of ash becomes a tiny seed, whispering possibilities into the water. You sense how volcanoes on land and hidden seafloor vents together enrich the oceans, creating pockets where life's first threads might weave. You sink down into the ocean depths, feeling the warmth of hydrothermal vents, Earth's underwater volcanoes. Here, chimneys of minerals rise from the seafloor, belching hot, mineral-rich water into the cold darkness. The vents hiss and roar softly, like Earth sighing in its sleep. Around these vents, you sense energy and elements combining, a slow, secret recipe bubbling in the dark. You imagine how these warm places could cradle simple molecules, sheltering them until they grow complex enough to stir. Your mind drifts upward again over mountains that still steam after eruptions. You watch as rain falls, turning fresh ash into fertile mud. Streams carry minerals down slopes into valleys, spreading nutrients across barren plains. You sense how every flood, every landslide, every gentle trickle reshapes the land, mixing Earth's deep elements with surface waters. These constant, quiet movements prepare the world for the emergence of something new, something that will one day breathe. You hover above volcanic islands rising from the sea, their black cliffs sharp against the soft blue of the ocean. These islands are Earth's new experiments, fresh land waiting for life to claim it. You see waves pounding their shores, wearing down rock grain by grain, creating sandy beaches where tide pools collect. Each tide pool becomes a tiny laboratory, rich with minerals, warmed by sunlight, stirred by tides, a place where ancient molecules might dance together until they find a spark. You follow plumes of volcanic gases rising into the sky, sulphurous and strange, drifting into the young atmosphere. These gases mix with air and water vapor, reacting in ways that shift the planet's chemistry. You sense how volcanoes helped build Earth's first atmosphere, exhaling carbon dioxide, water vapor, nitrogen, traces of other gases. These elements become the breath of a world, setting the stage for future skies where life will someday exhale its own breath. Your thoughts drift back to the violent beauty of the volcano's eruptions, seeing fire meet water in explosive bursts of steam and ash. Each clash reshapes coastlines, builds new land, and carves deep underwater trenches. You feel the slow patience of plate tectonics, how continents drift, collide, and tear apart over millions of years, their movements driven by the same heat that fuels volcanoes. This restless dance remakes the planet again and again, creating endless possibilities. You float over a world in constant motion. Earthquakes ripple across fresh crust. Mountains rise as plates crash together. Ocean trenches deepen as plates sink into the mantle. You sense how Earth's geology is alive, always changing, always setting the conditions that will one day make life possible. You realize that every tremor, every eruption, every quiet shift in stone contributes to Earth's slow, careful preparation for life's arrival. You drift through nights lit by the glow of volcanic eruptions, the skies painted red and gold by molten fountains. Lightning crackles in ash clouds, illuminating the dark with sudden flashes. You sense the energy in every bolt, the same energy that may have helped split simple molecules in Earth's early atmosphere, building more complex organic compounds with every spark. Each stormy night becomes a silent laboratory, a stage for experiments that stretch across eons. You rise into calmer skies, leaving behind the roiling clouds and glowing mountains. The air is heavy with the scent of cooled stone, fresh earth, and distant salt from the seas. You see how landscapes shaped by volcanic fury begin to soften over time. Rain smooths jagged rock. Rivers carry dust and minerals far from their fiery birthplace. Valleys fill with rich soil. Plains stretch wide and fertile, ready for the first forms of life to take hold. Your breath becomes slower, deeper, matching the quiet that returns after each eruption. You feel the heat beneath your feet fading into a comforting warmth, a steady reminder of Earth's hidden heart still beating far below. You sense how this restless energy will continue to shape the world, long after life begins, how volcanoes will remain both destroyers and creators, weaving Earth's story from fire and ash. You close your eyes and listen to the hush that follows an eruption. The silence feels full of promise, as if the world holds its breath, waiting for the next chapter. You imagine simple molecules drifting in warm pools of water, enriched by the volcanic minerals, nudged by energy from storms and heat from Earth's core. You feel the moment drawing near when chemistry will awaken, when the first fragile sparks of life will flicker into being. You drift high above volcano-strewn landscapes, seeing the marks of eruptions etched across continents and islands. From this height, the scars left by fire blend with the quiet curves of mountains and valleys. telling a story of patience and power. You feel awe at the beauty in this raw, restless world, a beauty born of violence and time, each eruption another verse in Earth's ancient poem. You sense how volcanoes connect the depths of Earth with the heights of its skies, carrying minerals from the molten mantle to the surface, exhaling gases into the atmosphere, stirring waters that will cradle life. Each breath of a volcano is a gift and a challenge, a force that tears apart and knits together the world in equal measure. Your thoughts drift back to the oceans, calm but now richer, with elements carried by rivers from volcanic lands. You see dark clouds reflected in waves, feel the slow merging of sea and land through endless cycles of erosion and deposition. You realize how volcanoes and oceans are partners in this great story, each shaping the other, each essential for what is about to come. You float in the soft darkness of night, stars glimmering faintly through thinning clouds. The world below is quiet once more, steam rising gently from cooling rocks, winds carrying the scent of fresh stone. You sense that Earth has taken another step toward welcoming life, that the restless breath of volcanoes has forged not only land, but the conditions for life's first fragile sparks. As you drift into the calm that follows Earth's fiery exhalations, your thoughts reach forward once again, wondering, when the first simple molecules awaken in these warm, mineral-rich pools, what shapes will they take and what songs will they sing? You linger in the quiet question that drifted from your heart just moments ago, the wonder of what songs the first molecules will sing in these warm, mineral-rich pools. As your thoughts hover in the soft darkness, you notice a gentle glimmer in the night sky. Tiny motes drift slowly downward, each shining faintly as they catch the starlight. These are grains of cosmic dust, the same stardust that formed your bones and Earth's heart, now settling upon the cooling land and quiet seas below. You drift with these delicate specks, floating like snowflakes through the thinning clouds. They spiral slowly, guided by winds that carry them across plains, over fresh volcanic slopes, and into glacial pools where ice melts under a shy sun. You feel the hush in these places, the calm of puddles hidden in cracks and crevices, far from the restless waves of oceans, or the roar of erupting volcanoes. Here the silence is perfect for secrets to unfold. You follow one speck as it lands upon the surface of a glacial pool, sending gentle ripples across the still water. You sense the weight of the elements it carries: phosphorus, the spark of energy in every cell; sulfur, the quiet architect of proteins; carbon, the backbone of life's endless chains. Each grain is a tiny treasure chest, packed with rare gifts gathered during the violent deaths of ancient stars. You feel the reverence in the air, as if Earth itself knows how precious each speck truly is. You watch the dust dissolve into the icy water, releasing its elements like soft sighs. Molecules drift free, swirling lazily in the frigid pool. These molecules begin to meet, guided by subtle currents and the gentle warmth rising from Earth's crust. You see them spin and touch, break apart and reform. Each encounter is a small miracle, a dance that repeats over and over, searching for just the right steps to create something new. You drift lower until your face hovers inches above the shimmering pool. You watch the surface reflect the pale light of a half-hidden sun, broken into shifting patterns by ripples and floating flecks of dust. Beneath, the water is alive with quiet motion. Chains of carbon atoms link together. Delicate rings of organic molecules snap into place. You sense how each molecule remembers where it came from: cosmic dust, volcanic ash, cometary ice. all combining in secret places where life's first recipes are written. Your breath slows, matching the gentle swirl of water. You sense the patience of these tiny dances, how millions of years pass in the time it takes for molecules to find the perfect bond. You feel awe as simple compounds become more complex, building sugars and amino acids, fatty acids and nucleotides, the alphabet of life forming one letter at a time. Each piece clicks into place like notes in a song that has waited eons to be sung. You drift sideways across the pool, your mind softening as you follow the paths of these molecules. Some gather near the water's edge, where sunlight warms shallow puddles, causing water to evaporate and concentrate the soup of elements left behind. You see how each drying cycle draws molecules closer, encouraging them to link into longer and more intricate chains. When rains come again, they dissolve, mix, and start anew, a quiet, endless cycle of creation. You rise slowly with mist, lifting from the glacial pool, carried upward by the morning breeze. You see how these secret laboratories lie scattered across Earth's surface, in pools on volcanic slopes, in cracks between cooling rocks, in tiny lakes formed by melting ice. Each is a quiet workshop sheltered from the chaos of raging seas or the violence of storms. You sense how Earth, in its restless creativity, provides countless hidden corners for life's first recipes to brew. Your thoughts drift to the skies above, where cosmic dust still falls like silver rain, each grain carrying elements forged in stars far older than the sun. You feel the connection between the vast universe and these tiny pools, how the chemistry of galaxies has found its way to the smallest corners of Earth. You sense how the universe itself is experimenting here, testing countless combinations, searching for a recipe that will awaken life. You follow a molecule as it drifts toward a cluster of others, their surfaces sticky with reactive groups, eager to bond. When they meet, a faint pulse of energy ripples through the water. You sense the joy of this moment, as if the universe itself holds its breath. You imagine these molecules whispering secrets to each other, stories of stars and comets, of molten stone and cooling rain, of cosmic dust finding a home on a world ready to dream. You drift along the edge of another pool where crystals of salt form delicate patterns on rocks. These crystals catch molecules in their lattices, pressing them close together. You sense how the pressure helps them snap into place, building larger and more complex structures. When rains wash the crystals back into the water, new shapes emerge, stronger and more intricate than before. Each cycle leaves the molecules a little closer to the threshold of life. You float higher to see hundreds of pools scattered like dark mirrors across the land, each one a quiet cauldron simmering with possibility. You feel the stillness in the air above them, the slow patience of a world waiting for something extraordinary to happen. You sense how Earth's restless energy, the heat of volcanoes, the crackle of lightning, the warmth of a young sun, stirs these pools without shattering their calm. The balance is delicate yet perfect. You rise above the land to watch shadows crawl across hills and valleys as the sun sets. Long fingers of darkness stretch over the pools, cooling them, slowing the dances of molecules until they almost stop. But even in this darkness, a quiet energy remains. You sense molecules vibrating softly, holding the memory of their daytime collisions, ready to resume their search when light returns. You feel how this rhythm, day and night, warm and cool, helps shape the paths of life's first steps. You drift beneath a sky now lit with stars, the same stars that once gave these elements their birth. You sense how their distant light still touches Earth, a faint but constant reminder of the cosmos beyond. You imagine each star as a silent witness to this hidden chemistry, watching as cosmic dust fulfills its ancient purpose in the quietest corners of a restless world. Your breath slows with the night, your thoughts becoming soft as the pools grow still. You sense how the universe has woven every thread of this moment together. Stardust from dying suns, Earth's molten heart, rains from ancient comets, lightning's fierce energy. Each piece gathers here in secret, writing recipes in the dark that will one day awaken into the first fragile life. You drift lower until your reflection shimmers across the surface of a quiet pool. You see the stars mirrored alongside your face, feel your breath blending with the night air. The world feels hushed, as if holding its breath with you, waiting for the final pieces to fall into place. You sense how each molecule carries a memory of cosmic journeys, how each bond they form whispers of the stars that made them. Your thoughts linger on the gentle ripples spreading from a falling speck of dust, each wave a soft promise that something extraordinary is almost ready to emerge. You imagine what it would feel like to witness the very first moment a molecule stirs with life, to hear the quiet note of chemistry shifting into biology, to sense the universe's ancient dream finally waking upon this blue and restless world. Your breath becomes as slow as the night itself, your mind easing into the ocean of stars above. You feel the pools below holding their secret dances, their quiet recipes waiting for the perfect moment. The world lies hushed and dark, but you sense a warmth building beneath the silence, a soft, patient heat that will carry these molecules one step closer to life. As you drift above the sleeping land, the stars glimmer like distant memories, and your thoughts reach forward into the quiet darkness, wondering, when the recipe is complete and the first living spark ignites, how will it change the face of this world forever? You linger in the quiet darkness above Earth, your thoughts still drifting on the question you asked moments ago. When the recipe is complete and the first spark ignites, how will it change the face of this world forever? The stars shimmer faintly overhead, and below, the pools lie calm and silent, each holding secret dances of molecules waiting for their final cue. You sense the warmth rising slowly through the darkness, a promise carried in each trembling ripple. You drift lower, feeling the air thick with anticipation, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Puddles shimmer under the pale light of a thin dawn. In these hidden pools, simple molecules swirl together, brushing against each other like dancers learning their steps. Chains form and break, split and merge, each new combination carrying the potential for something extraordinary. You watch the slow rhythmic movement, your senses softening with every gentle collision. Your eyes follow a chain of molecules weaving through the water, carbon atoms strung like beads, forming fragile loops that curl and twist. These loops tangle with others, creating larger webs of chemistry. You sense how each bond they form is a quiet miracle, the result of countless chances, each delicate as a snowflake yet strong enough to hold the possibility of life. You feel the hush in the air, as if the universe itself is listening. You drift along the surface of the pool, seeing tiny bubbles rising where heat from the Earth's crust stirs the water. Each bubble carries a whisper of energy, lifting molecules into motion. As they rise and fall, they touch and cling to one another, creating new shapes. You imagine them humming with the softest notes of creation, a faint song only the night can hear. You sense how the balance of energy, the concentration of ingredients, and the quiet patience of time have all come together in this moment. Your breath becomes slower, matching the pace of the shimmering puddles. You feel the thin warmth of the first morning light brushing your face, stirring the pools with new energy. Sunlight breaks through drifting clouds, reaching into the water and sparking subtle reactions. You see molecules shifting in response, their bonds tightening, their shapes becoming more complex. The light moves across the pools like a painter's brush, adding colour and life to the waiting world. You drift deeper into the water, your eyes drawn to tiny structures forming within the pools, micelles, delicate bubbles of fatty molecules arranging themselves into spheres. These bubbles enclose pockets of water, sheltering fragile chains of molecules within. You sense how these simple membranes protect their contents, giving them a chance to survive, to grow, to become something more than a scattered dance of chemicals. You feel the first outlines of a cell, the soft heartbeat of life beginning to stir. You rise slowly, feeling the pools quiver with subtle motion, as if they are breathing. Chains of amino acids fold into complex shapes, some sticking together to form rudimentary enzymes that guide reactions with newfound precision. Sugars link into longer strands, creating rudimentary codes. You watch these early experiments in chemistry, each one a step closer to something that can replicate, something that can carry memory, something that can evolve. Your thoughts move like slow currents through the warm air, imagining how these pools repeat their cycles day after day, night after night. You see rains falling, washing new dust into the water. You see the sun returning, heating the pools and concentrating their precious contents. You sense the quiet perseverance of molecules, their endless trials and errors, their patient search for a stable combination that can copy itself, protect itself, and endure. You drift above pools shimmering under the pink sky of early dawn, seeing glints of light reflect from their surfaces like 1,000 tiny stars. You feel your heart slow to the rhythm of the ripples, your mind softening with the thought of time stretching over millions of years. You sense the first successes emerging, molecules that not only survive but help create copies of themselves. These are the first whispers of replication, the moment when chemistry becomes biology. You sink lower, watching strands of RNA-like molecules align and match, building partners that mirror their shapes. You sense the quiet triumph in this act, the moment when a molecule carries information that can persist, change, and improve. You realize how this simple act of copying will one day lead to creatures that swim, crawl, fly, and dream. But for now, you rest in the gentle wonder of the very first breath of life. Your breath moves softly with the mist rising from the pools, your senses tuned to the subtle energy that flickers in the water. You feel the dawn of living matter, the first time the universe's chemistry creates something that seeks to survive, something that will one day change the world. You sense how the pools hold not just ingredients, but the secret of persistence, the quiet insistence of life to continue, adapt, and You drift higher as light spreads across the land, touching volcanic slopes and frozen plains, melting ice and warming seas. The pools glow softly, their surfaces alive with the delicate motions of molecules growing more organized with each cycle. You sense how Earth, once chaotic and molten, now nurtures these first fragile sparks, cradling them in warm pockets sheltered from storm and sea. You float above Earth's quiet places, seeing countless puddles, ponds, and tide pools shimmering with potential. Each holds its own experiment, a unique path toward life's first steps. You realize how many false starts will fade, how many molecules will dissolve or drift away. Yet in some pools, some cycles, life will find the right path, the perfect combination to begin the journey of evolution. Your thoughts move like morning breezes across the land, carrying scents of wet stone, warm earth, and fresh rain. You feel the deep connection between cosmic dust and living matter, the unbroken thread that ties the birth of stars to the first heartbeat of life. You sense how the universe, in its patient unfolding, has always carried the seeds of life, waiting for the right place, the right moment, the right spark. You rise slowly above the pools, seeing Earth's surface stretch wide and quiet beneath a brightening sky. The world feels different now, its silence filled with the softest song now. The song of molecules waking, shifting, learning to carry the flame of life. You feel your own breath catch in the wonder of it, your heart opening to the beauty of a universe that can build something so delicate and extraordinary from such simple beginnings. Your thoughts soften as you listen to the gentle sounds of dawn, the sigh of the wind, the drip of water, the faint hiss of steam from distant volcanic vents. Each sound weaves into a lullaby for the first living matter, a song to cradle life's earliest dreams. You sense the world leaning forward, its landscapes quiet but expectant, as if the earth itself knows that everything has changed in this silent dawn. You drift in the pale light of morning, feeling Earth's surface alive with quiet possibilities. The pools lie shimmering, their waters carrying chains of molecules that can now replicate, that can now whisper the first stories of life. The stars fade in the brightening sky, but you sense their memory in every drop of water, every fragile bond, every soft breath of this new beginning. As you hover above the still shimmering puddles, your thoughts reach into the quiet morning, wondering, when life begins to shape the world around it, what wonders and challenges will it face in this ever-changing earth? You drift above the quiet pools where life's first whispers have begun to stir, your thoughts still lingering on how these fragile beginnings will reshape the world. The pale morning light deepens as the sun climbs, spreading warmth across Earth's newborn landscapes. You sense something shifting beneath your gaze, as if the pools themselves exhale softly, sending new life into the waiting oceans beyond. You rise higher and watch rains carry these first living molecules into rivers that wind across plains of fresh rock. Streams merge into lakes and lakes spill into the young oceans, their waves folding life into their restless embrace. You drift with these ancient waters, feeling the quiet power of their currents sweeping simple life far and wide, seeding every coastline, every tide pool, every sunlit shallows with the promise of something new. You sink into these oceans, the water warm and thick with possibilities. Everywhere you look, single-celled pioneers drift and multiply, worlds unto themselves. They pulse with faint energy, like tiny stars scattered through a vast underwater night. Each microbe carries the memory of cosmic dust and molten stone, the legacy of patient cycles in glacial pools. You sense how they test their fragile chemistries against the ocean's salt and heat, adapting, changing, learning to survive. Your breath slows as you hover among them, your senses softening to match their patient pace. Time stretches, eons unfolding like slow waves across a quiet sea. Generations of microbes rise and fall, billions of lives blooming and fading in moments too small for your eyes to see. Yet each life leaves behind traces, new molecules, subtle changes in the water, whispers of evolution that will echo for ages to come. You drift deeper, where sunlight filters only as a pale shimmer, and see microbes that feast on minerals rising from seafloor vents. Around these dark towers, strange creatures thrive on chemical energy alone, building tiny cities of life in the blackness. You sense how these early forms of metabolism explore every path the earth offers. Some learn to eat sulfur, some dance with iron, Some find ways to capture the faintest light near the ocean's surface. You rise again to follow cyanobacteria spreading across sunlit shallows. They are small and unassuming, yet inside each cell magic happens. Photosynthesis, the quiet alchemy that turns sunlight, water and carbon dioxide into oxygen and sugar. You sense how each breath of these ancient microbes releases tiny bubbles of oxygen into the sea, changing its chemistry drop by drop. You realize how this quiet exhalation will one day transform the entire world. Your thoughts move like slow tides over these microbial communities, feeling the patience of evolution as each new generation inherits and tweaks the recipes of life. Mutations add variety, some helping cells grow faster or resist harsh conditions. You sense the first hints of competition, microbes racing for sunlight, jostling for minerals, experimenting with new strategies in the endless game of survival. Each success is a quiet note in life's growing symphony. You drift across reefs of microbial mats spreading across shallow seabeds, their layers building year upon year, leaving behind thick carpets of living matter. These mats trap sediments and minerals, creating the first stromatolites, rocky fossils that will one day whisper stories of Earth's earliest days to curious eyes. You sense how these mats protect communities within, sharing resources, sheltering fragile chains of life from crashing waves and shifting sands. You sink back into deeper waters where other microbes learn to work together. Some form symbiotic partnerships, each species offering what the other needs, one providing food, the other protection or energy. You sense how cooperation becomes a new tool in life's kit, a quiet revolution that will shape every future creature. The seeds of multicellular life begin here, hidden in simple unions of single cells learning to trust each other. Your breath slows further, each inhale matching the rhythm of soft currents swirling through ancient oceans. The world above is harsh. Volcanic lightning splits the skies. Meteors still fall from space, continents drift and collide. Yet beneath the waves, this quiet symphony of microbes continues, patient and resilient. You feel their steady pulse, a heartbeat that never falters even as Earth itself quakes and changes. You drift through nights lit by faint auroras dancing across the polar skies, their green and purple lights shimmering in dark waters. Beneath them, microbes continue their slow work, releasing oxygen into the oceans, altering Earth's atmosphere molecule by molecule. You sense how this growing oxygen begins to react with iron dissolved in seawater, staining rocks with rust-red bands. These banded iron formations become silent records of life's earliest steps toward changing the planet. Your thoughts wander over millennia, watching oceans thicken with life, each drop of water alive with countless invisible dramas. Cells burst and release their contents, sharing genetic hints with neighbours. Some are swallowed by others, beginning the long, improbable path toward complex cells. You feel the excitement of these experiments, each one a test of possibility, each one a fragile bridge between what was and what might be. You drift above shallow seas where photosynthetic microbes thrive in sprawling colonies, their oxygen slowly saturating the oceans and leaking into the skies. You sense the first hints of blue appearing in Earth's skies, the haze of methane and carbon dioxide thinning as oxygen begins to take hold. The air grows richer with each passing eon, preparing the world for more demanding forms of life that will one day breathe with lungs and sing with voices. Your breath moves with the gentle sway of tides, your mind quiet and patient like the microbes themselves. You sense how these ancient pioneers laid the foundations of Earth's biosphere, building everything future life will depend upon. the cycles of carbon and nitrogen, the oxygen in the air, the rich soils of tomorrow's lands. Every complex creature will carry their legacy, every beating heart a testament to these single-celled architects of possibility. You hover in silence, feeling eons pass with each slow blink. Continents shift, mountains rise, oceans flood valleys and recede. Yet beneath these restless changes, the microbes remain, evolving steadily, diversifying, exploring every niche. You sense their quiet perseverance, the simple, unshakable determination of life to continue, to find new paths, to transform the face of the world. As dawn breaks again over ancient seas, you see microbial mats glowing softly with the first rays of sunlight. Tiny bubbles rise from photosynthesizing cells, drifting to the surface and bursting into the morning air. The world above is still raw and hostile, but the oceans are alive with a symphony of life, each note carrying the memory of cosmic dust and the promise of tomorrow's wonders. Your breath slows to match the patient pace of these microbes, your thoughts softening with the realization that every living thing, every tree, every bird, every human owes its existence to this quiet age of single-celled pioneers. You sense the power of time stretching out before you, the countless stories waiting to unfold, each one built upon the quiet strength of these earliest architects of life. As you drift in the shimmering light of a new morning, your thoughts reach forward, wondering, when these single-celled worlds learn to gather together into more complex bodies, what shapes will life's next chapters take, and what new wonders will they bring to Earth's ever-changing stage? You linger in the quiet wonder of a new morning, your thoughts still drifting on the question of what shapes life will take when single cells begin to gather into more complex bodies. As the first hints of clouds drift across the brightening sky, you feel the world shifting beneath you, a subtle tremor that hints at the restless forces moving far below Earth's surface. You rise higher, your awareness spreading wide as you sense the continents themselves beginning to dance. You watch from the sky as ancient plates of Earth's crust drift slowly atop a sea of molten rock, gliding with patient, powerful grace. You feel the tension building at their edges, where they collide and scrape past one another, sending silent shudders through the deep. Each slow movement is part of a grand choreography, a dance millions of years in the making. Your breath matches the pace of this ancient rhythm, slow and deep, in tune with the heartbeat of a restless world. You drift over wide oceans that open between splitting continents, seeing how new seafloor rises at mid-ocean ridges where molten rock oozes up, cools, and pushes plates apart. You sense the quiet roar of magma far below, the warmth that drives these movements, the same warmth that once kindled life's first sparks. You watch the Atlantic Ocean widen centimetre by centimetre, an ancient promise unfolding over eons. Your thoughts glide along the edges of colliding plates, where mountain ranges rise in slow-motion clashes. You see Himalayas forming, pushed skyward by the meeting of continents, their peaks reaching for the stars. You feel the strain in stone as rocks fold and buckle, creating deep valleys and towering ridges. Each quake is a brief, fierce heartbeat in Earth's patient pulse, reshaping landscapes and carving new paths for rivers, winds, and life itself. You hover above rift valleys where continents pull apart, creating deep scars in Earth's crust. Lakes fill these rifts with shimmering water, cradling unique ecosystems that evolve in isolation. You sense how Earth's slow tearing creates new homes for life, each fracture a chance for species to diverge, adapt, and bloom into unexpected forms. You feel the creative power hidden within these quiet, monumental shifts. Your breath slows as you drift over volcanic arcs rising where plates sink beneath others. You watch islands emerge from the sea, born of molten fury, each new land a blank canvas for life's experiments. You see waves crash against fresh stone carrying seeds and spores, beginning the long process of colonization. You sense how volcanoes, so often feared for their destruction, also build new worlds where life can start anew. You drift higher, following the slow motion of entire continents as they wander across the globe. You see how their positions shape ocean currents, how these currents in turn carry warmth or cold, rain or drought across Earth's surface. You feel the planet breathing through these shifting patterns, each change altering climates, habitats, and the possibilities for life. You sense how life must adapt with every subtle adjustment, how diversity flourishes in Earth's endless reinvention. You glide over ancient supercontinents like Rodinia and Pangaea, watching them assemble and break apart over hundreds of millions of years. You see coastlines stretch and snap, mountains crumble, seas flood great plains. With each cycle, new combinations of land and ocean create new opportunities and challenges for life. You sense the quiet genius of this restless Earth, how its changing face fosters evolution's endless creativity. Your breath matches the gentle rise and fall of continents drifting through deep time. You sense how Earth's heartbeat, the slow churn of its mantle, the quiet grind of its plates, creates a dynamic world where life must continually adapt or fade away. You feel how this ever-changing landscape keeps life from growing stagnant, forcing it to innovate, diversify, and discover new ways to thrive. You drift down to valleys where rivers cut through rising mountains, carrying minerals to plains and oceans, nourishing every corner of the biosphere. You see how each landslide, each quake, each eruption sends pulses of nutrients across the world, feeding simple cells and complex creatures alike. You sense how the destruction caused by Earth's shifting heart is balanced by creation, how life draws strength from the cycle of building and breaking. Your thoughts move with clouds swirling around mountain peaks, where rain falls and carves canyons into stone. You watch rivers meander across continents, changing course over millennia, reshaping valleys, creating new wetlands, and leaving behind fertile soils. You feel the quiet power of water, a patient sculptor working hand in hand with Earth's shifting crusts to create endless variety in the landscapes below. You rise with the winds sweeping across deserts born from continents drifting into rain shadows, sensing how arid lands force life to adapt in astonishing ways. You see hardy plants and animals evolving to survive extremes, each unique strategy adding new branches to the tree of life. You sense the power of Earth's changes, not only to challenge life, but to inspire its most remarkable innovations. Your breath slows as you float above shifting coastlines, where tides lap against fresh beaches and estuaries bloom with life. You see continents drawing apart, creating new shallow seas where sunlight and nutrients combine to form cradles of biodiversity. Coral reefs and mangroves rise, each ecosystem a masterpiece of collaboration, shaped by the patient hand of Earth's moving plates. You drift higher, feeling the slow, powerful cycles of supercontinents building and breaking, mountains rising and wearing away, oceans opening and closing. Time stretches far beyond human comprehension, yet you sense the meaning in each subtle change. How every earthquake, every volcanic eruption, every slow drift of stone creates new possibilities for life. You feel the planet's heartbeat as a song of constant renewal. As dawn's first light touches mountain peaks newly thrust skyward, you see shadows stretching across valleys, tracing the lines of Earth's shifting crust. You sense how this ceaseless dance will continue long after your watch has ended, how continents will keep drifting, oceans will keep opening and closing, mountains will keep rising and crumbling, each movement sculpting the next chapter of Earth's story. You drift above this ever-changing world, feeling the power of deep time in every fold of rock, every ripple of ocean, every sigh of wind across mountain slopes. You realize that life's greatest diversity, its most breathtaking creativity, comes not in spite of change, but because of it. That Earth's moving heart is both life's greatest challenge and its greatest gift. As you hover in the quiet glow of a new morning, your thoughts reach forward, wondering, as life grows more complex upon this shifting Earth, how will it learn to work together, and what new wonders will emerge from unity? You drift in the quiet glow of dawn, your thoughts still lingering on how life will find new ways to unite on this ever-shifting Earth. As the sun climbs higher, soft light spills across valleys and mountains newly carved by Earth's restless heart. You sense the world changing once more, this time not through stone and fire, but through the quiet work of life itself, reaching for the sky. You hover above shallow seas where ancient algae bloom in sunlit waters. Their green filaments sway gently, each cell capturing sunlight and weaving it into the fabric of life. You feel your own breath slow, grateful for the quiet labor of these tiny architects. With every ripple of light they gather, they release oxygen into the water and sky, changing Earth's atmosphere drop by precious drop. You drift along coastlines where mats of algae spread across tidal flats, painting the shallows with shifting greens and golds. You sense how their photosynthesis draws energy directly from the sun, how they transform Earth's air from a suffocating shroud of carbon dioxide and methane into something life can breathe. Each molecule of oxygen they exhale carries a quiet promise of a more hospitable world. Your breath deepens as you rise above the first true plants, pioneers pushing roots into damp ground. Tiny mosses and liverworts creep across bare stone, softening the land with their green touch. You feel how these humble plants break rock into soil grain by grain, how they hold water in spongy mats, preparing the land for life yet to come. You sense their quiet patience, their gentle determination to turn barren stone into a thriving home. You drift over ancient swamps where giant horsetails and club mosses rise like emerald towers, their stems reaching meters into the heavy air. Their leaves catch sunlight in delicate fans, casting shadows across dark, still waters. You feel the air thick with moisture and the scent of life multiplying. A world growing lush under the sun's steady gaze. You sense how these forests of green spread oxygen faster than ever before, transforming Earth's skies into breathable blue. Your thoughts move like a soft breeze through these primeval jungles, watching spores drift on warm currents. Each spore carries the chance of new life, floating across continents, seeding fresh colonies of green. You see entire landscapes slowly cloaked in mosses, ferns, and towering lycophytes, their roots binding soil and their leaves catching sunlight. You sense how every leaf and stem shapes the air, the water, and the possibilities for every future creature. You rise above forests where trees first appear, their woody trunks lifting leaves higher than any plant before. You watch these ancient trees build vast canopies, weaving sunlight into food that feeds countless lives. Their roots sink deep, breaking rocks, cycling minerals, creating rich soils. You sense how these forests change rainfall patterns, cool the air, and stabilize the land, the green lungs of Earth awakening. Your breath matches the slow rustle of leaves, your senses filled with the smell of damp earth and resin. You drift through a world alive with shades of green, from dark mossy understories to bright sunlit crowns. Everywhere, plants whisper with photosynthesis, their quiet songs of carbon and light weaving a tapestry that stretches across continents. You sense how these green waves prepare Earth for creatures needing air rich in oxygen. You float above rivers winding through lush plains, their banks lined with willows and ancient seed ferns. You see dragonflies with wingspans wider than your hand darting above ponds, the first insects thriving in a world transformed by plants. You sense how plants and insects form new partnerships, flowers beginning their first experiments with attracting pollinators, each interaction weaving life more tightly together. Your thoughts drift across time, seeing coal swamps form, as dense forests fall and sink into peat, trapping carbon for ages. You feel how these buried forests lock away greenhouse gases, cooling the planet and altering the course of climate. You sense Earth's balance shifting once again, each layer of decaying plant matter adding to the deep archives of stone that will one day tell stories of ancient green worlds. You rise through morning mists clinging to vast forests, feeling Earth's air richer, clearer, easier to breathe. You sense how oxygen levels climb higher than ever before, fueling new possibilities for animal life to grow larger, faster, bolder. You watch millipedes the length of your arm crawling across leaf litter, giant insects soaring through humid skies, their every breath a gift from green life below. Your breath slows as you glide over continents wrapped in thick forests stretching from pole to pole. The soft rustle of leaves fills your ears like a lullaby, each sound a note in the growing symphony of life. You sense how forests provide shelter, food, and countless microhabitats, each niche an invitation for evolution to experiment, diversify, and flourish. You drift above Earth's green mantle as it changes with the seasons, leaves unfurling in spring, deepening in summer, flaming gold and red in autumn, falling to rest in winter's quiet. You sense how these cycles nourish soils, feed rivers, and inspire the rhythms of countless creatures. Each season a heartbeat of Earth's living tapestry, each leaf a thread in the endless story of life. You hover in the soft light of dawn filtering through tall canopies, seeing the first hints of flowers opening to the sun. You sense how flowers will revolutionize life, attracting insects, creating new bonds, spreading seeds farther than wind alone ever could. The air hums with quiet energy as plants and animals begin to collaborate more deeply, life's web growing thicker and more intricate. As you drift in the hush of a green world waking beneath morning skies, your thoughts reach forward, wondering, as creatures begin to walk among these forests, how will they shape and be shaped by this rich, living tapestry of Earth? You drift in the hush of morning light filtering through ancient forests, your thoughts lingering on flowers opening to the sun and insects buzzing softly among them. The world below hums with quiet promise, and you sense something stirring in the waters lapping against mossy shores. Ripples spread outward as fins twitch and eyes peer above the surface, as if life itself is testing the weight of a new world beyond the water's edge. You hover above streams where fish linger in shallows, their fins brushing soft mud as they search for breathing space. You see some fish develop stouter fins, able to prop themselves for a moment in the warm air. You sense the gentle push of evolution as these early pioneers explore a land rich with untapped possibilities, a realm of insects, plants, and open skies. Your breath slows as you drift with these first bold creatures, watching them pull themselves from water onto damp banks. Their limbs tremble under gravity's unfamiliar pull, each movement a tentative dance between survival and discovery. You sense the exhilaration of their struggle, the quiet triumph of each successful breath taken outside the water, the spark of a new way of life igniting along Earth's green fringes. You glide over swamps where amphibians grow more confident, their bodies adapting to life between two worlds. Some creep deeper into forests, their skin slick and shining in dappled light. You see them hunting insects, laying eggs in quiet ponds, and singing low calls across misty evenings. You feel how these first walkers weave water and land into one living tapestry, stitching together ecosystems that stretch from riverbeds to forest canopies. Your thoughts drift to ancient seas teeming with trilobites, their segmented bodies scuttling across ocean floors, their compound eyes watching light flicker through water. You sense their quiet reign in the Paleozoic oceans, a time when life's forms multiplied in endless experiments, armored creatures, floating jellyfish, spiraling shells, each a unique note in evolution's growing chorus. You rise with the dawn of reptiles, their scaly bodies better suited to dry lands than their amphibian ancestors. You watch them bask on warm stones, their eggs laid away from water, freeing them to roam farther across sprawling continents. You sense how these new pioneers break the final chains tying life to water, opening Earth's wide plains and deserts to exploration. You drift across ancient coastlines as forests of giant ferns and towering lycophytes rustle with quiet life. You see dragonflies the size of hawks darting between shadows, their wings glittering with dew. You sense a world thick with oxygen, where insects grow enormous and life surges into niches never before touched. Each flutter and scurry adds new threads to the intricate web you've watched unfolding since life's first whispers. Your breath deepens as you follow the slow rise of archosaurs, ancestors of crocodiles, pterosaurs, and dinosaurs. You watch them test new ways of moving, walking upright on powerful legs or spreading wings to glide above ancient trees. You sense the thrill of these experiments, each adaptation a gamble that reshapes life's path. Some fail quietly, others thrive and change Earth forever. You float high above plains where dinosaurs thunder across the land, their massive bodies shaking the ground. Some wear armor, others sprout horns or sails, each form a testament to nature's restless creativity. You drift with feathered giants leaping from branch to branch, their wings catching morning breezes as they search for insects hiding among leaves. You sense the seeds of flight beginning to take root, a dream of the skies taking shape in silent forests. You drift over shallow seas where marine reptiles twist through sunlit waters, their sleek bodies cutting paths through schools of fish. You watch ammonites spiral gracefully beneath the waves, their shells recording the silent song of ancient oceans. You sense life's exuberance in every form, Earth's story quickening with each new creature that takes its place on the stage. Your breath moves with the rhythms of dawn breaking over volcanic horizons, ash clouds painting skies with gold and crimson. You see cycles of extinction and renewal, mass die-offs opening space for survivors to thrive, old rulers replaced by new innovators. You sense the power of change, the way destruction clears paths for unexpected wonders. The pace of life's story accelerates with each upheaval, yet its melody continues, unbroken. You drift above continents splitting apart, oceans opening like new chapters in Earth's long tale. You sense how drifting lands carry creatures into isolation, where evolution spins unique forms. Long-necked giants browsing high canopies, tiny feathered hunters stalking shadows, horned beasts locking in quiet battles. Each continent becomes a crucible of invention, a fresh stage for life's boundless creativity. Your thoughts wander among forests where early mammals scurry beneath dinosaur feet, small and cautious, but fiercely adaptable. You feel their warm bodies and quick minds, their quiet promise that something new is waiting beyond the age of giants. You sense their patience, their hidden strength, the seeds of futures unimaginable to the rulers of their world. Your breath slows as you drift above night skies filled with unfamiliar constellations, Earth's continents in positions long vanished from memory. You see meteors blaze, volcanoes roar, oceans swell and recede. Yet through every change, creatures crawl, walk, run and fly. Each step a leap in evolution's grand story, each life a new verse in Earth's timeless song. As dawn paints soft light across misty forests, you hover in the quiet spaces between rustling leaves and trembling shadows. Your thoughts reach forward, wondering, as one age ends and another begins, what forces will shape the rise of creatures who will learn to think, dream, and look back on these ancient days with wondering eyes? You drift above dawn-kissed plains where mist curls over grasslands, your thoughts lingering on creatures who have crawled, walked, and soared through ages past. As the first light catches on curious eyes peering from the cover of trees, you sense something stirring beyond mere instinct, an ember of awareness flickering to life. The world has shifted once more, and the story of Earth now carries a new and fragile thread, conscious thought. You hover above bands of early humans moving together across savannas, their feet leaving prints in soft earth beside the tracks of antelope and lion. You sense the hum of something different within them, minds that remember, plan and wonder. Each footstep carries not just a body but questions and dreams, as if the universe has opened eyes through which it can look back upon itself. Your breath slows as you drift near small fires flickering and gathering twilight. Around them, early humans share warmth, food, and stories woven in gestures and quiet sounds. You feel how these fires hold more than heat. They cradle the beginnings of culture, a shared memory glowing brighter with each retelling. Sparks rise into the night, mirroring stars above, as minds awaken to the connection between earth and sky. You glide inside caves where hands paint animals in ochre, charcoal and blood-red pigments. Bison thunder across stone walls, deer leap. Handprints linger like soft echoes of those who came before. You feel the weight of intention in these images, an urge not just to survive but to remember, to express, to make sense of a world both beautiful and terrifying. Each brush of pigment is a whisper of thought reaching across time. Your breath deepens as you drift among shadows where humans lift their eyes to the stars. You sense questions stirring beneath their ribs as they trace constellations with dark eyes, wondering what lights burn above, why they move, and what stories they might tell. Each gaze upward reflects the first moments of curiosity stretching beyond immediate needs, a reaching for something larger than self. You hover above rivers where humans learn to shape stone into tools, flakes chipping away until sharp edges emerge. You sense minds testing, refining, imagining new possibilities. With each strike of flint, new ideas spark, ways to hunt more effectively, to protect the vulnerable, to transform the landscape into a home. You feel creativity as a quiet revolution pulsing in every careful motion. You drift across wide valleys where humans gather plants, learning which nourish and which poison. You sense knowledge growing as mothers teach children which roots to dig, which berries to avoid. Each lesson carries not just survival but the beginnings of language. words taking shape to bind memory and meaning, to share thoughts beyond what eyes can see. Your breath matches the slow, patient rhythm of lives unfolding by riverbanks and forests. You see humans begin to bury their dead with flowers, beads, or tools, a soft question blooming in every grave. What happens beyond this life? You feel how grief sharpens minds and hearts, how love stretches awareness beyond the self, how memory keeps the lost alive in stories whispered around fires. You drift over grasslands where hunters run together, their coordinated movements revealing trust, planning, and shared intent. You sense cooperation evolving into empathy, the ability to imagine what another feels, to care, to mourn, to rejoice together. Each quiet moment of kindness knits hearts closer, weaving the first threads of communities that can weather storms and share joys. You rise above rocky hills where humans carve symbols into stone, each mark a silent word reaching beyond their own lifetimes. You sense how these marks seed the beginnings of writing, allowing thoughts to leap across generations, turning memory into something durable. Each symbol is a small victory against forgetting, a spark of continuity in a world of constant change. You drift over plains where humans gather under stars, their songs rising into night air, carrying dreams and fears beyond the reach of darkness. You feel how music becomes a bridge between souls, each note a call and answer in the quiet of the world. Through song, minds share what words cannot hold: sorrow, hope, wonder, weaving invisible bonds across time. You float beside fires where elders tell stories of ancestors, of how the world was made, of why the moon follows its path. You sense myth giving shape to mystery, comfort to fear, purpose to wandering. Each story plants seeds of belief, of identity, of belonging, teaching minds not just how to live, but why. Your breath slows as you hover in the hush of dawn, returning once more. Below you, humans lift their eyes from embers to the soft light spilling across fields. Their thoughts stretch farther than the horizon, their question growing sharper, deeper. Who are we? Why are we here? What does it mean to love, to lose, to dream? You sense consciousness opening wider with each sunrise, like petals unfolding to the warmth of a curious sun. As morning light glimmers across quiet waters reflecting human faces for the first time, your thoughts reach forward, wondering. As these conscious minds learn to shape the world in their image, what new powers and new responsibility will awaken in the hearts of Earth's dreaming children? You float among soft, slow-moving clouds, your awareness expanding beyond continents and oceans, beyond the fragile lives now awakening below. You sense how every breath of wind, every drop of rain, every shift of stone is part of a grand, patient unfolding. Earth itself feels like a living being, its heart beating with quiet purpose, its memory stretching deep into time. You rise higher still, stars peeking through the thinning atmosphere. Their ancient light brushes your cheeks with silver whispers. You remember that you too are made of stars, that every cell in your body carries atoms forged in the hearts of long-dead suns. Carbon that binds your flesh, iron that colours your blood, calcium that steadies your bones, all born from cosmic furnaces far older than Earth itself. Your breath slows as you drift among the stars, each one pulsing softly in the darkness, like a heartbeat of the universe. You sense the gentle echo of your own heart within these distant lights, a quiet reminder that your life is not separate from the cosmos, but a continuation of its oldest stories. Every beat carries the memory of explosions that scattered stardust across the newborn galaxy. You hover above Earth, watching clouds swirl across continents in pale blues and bright whites. You feel how fragile the planet's thin skin of life is, how each breath of air depends on the quiet collaboration of plants, oceans, and drifting winds. You sense how improbable, how precious it is that such a place exists at all. A small world, rich with liquid water, orbiting just the right distance from a modest star. Your thoughts drift backward through time, watching forests turn to deserts, ice sheets advance and retreat, mountains crumble into fertile plains. You see species rise, flourish, and fade, each one leaving a trace of its passing in the layered stone. You sense the patient cycles of Earth, the way it remembers every moment, even as it reshapes and renews itself again and again. You glide through dark skies where meteors flare and vanish, their brief brilliance a reminder of the countless rocks that have struck Earth, sometimes bringing endings, sometimes new beginnings. You see the Chicxulub impact flash bright, ending the age of dinosaurs but opening space for mammals to thrive. You sense how destruction and creation intertwine in Earth's long, patient dance. Your breath deepens as you float among nebulae, clouds of dust and gas glowing with the promise of new stars. You see places where gravity gathers motes of matter into brilliant newborn suns, their light pushing back the darkness. You sense the cycle repeating endlessly, stars forming, burning, dying, seeding new worlds. You feel the comfort of this cosmic rhythm, a quiet assurance that the universe knows how to renew itself. You drift back to Earth, watching the thin blue atmosphere cradle continents filled with life. You feel how humans shape the land with farms and cities, how they gaze outward with telescopes, building instruments to decode the stars' ancient messages. You sense their hope, their longing, their quiet fear that they are alone. Yet you know they are never separate, always woven into the same stardust that made oceans, mountains, and minds. You hover in silence as night spreads across the globe, lights blinking on in cities scattered like constellations across dark lands. You sense minds awake in those glowing windows, pondering their own small place in the vastness, telling stories of beginnings and endings, love and loss, wonder and fear, each story a fragile glowing ember in the long dark night. Your breath slows further as you drift closer to the surface of Earth, feeling warm winds brush your face. You see children looking up at the sky, their eyes wide with the same questions you felt eons ago. You sense their curiosity, a quiet hunger for meaning passed down like a torch through generations. You realize that Stardust remembers not only the birth of stars but the dreams of creatures who learn to look up and wonder. You drift over oceans, shimmering under moonlight, waves rolling with soft silver reflections. You sense the moon's steady pull shaping tides, guiding migrations and lighting paths across dark seas. You feel the moon itself as a relic of cosmic violence, a companion formed from Earth's own torn flesh, forever dancing in silent orbit, remembering the fiery chaos of Earth's earliest days. Your breath moves like tides in and out, your mind quieting as you sink deeper into calm. You feel each cell in your body humming with memories of ancient stars, each heartbeat carrying the echo of cosmic events older than Earth. You sense how you, like every creature before and after you, are part of an unbroken chain reaching back to the dawn of time. You settle gently into the night, stars reflected in your closing eyes, the sky above holding your dreams as softly as it holds drifting clouds. Your thoughts drift among constellations, weaving old stories with new hopes, your mind a quiet witness to the universe's patient unfolding. Each breath brings you closer to the slow, timeless rhythm of the cosmos. Your breath slows one last time as you drift beyond the reach of dawn, thoughts folding into quiet darkness. You feel the comforting truth that every question, every moment of clear wonder, every heartbeat is a part of the universe remembering itself through you. As you sink into sleep's gentle embrace, you sense your own stardust returning home, wondering, in the endless night beyond dreaming, what new worlds will rise and what new stories will Stardust tell. Final closing. As your thoughts settle among the stars and the soft hush of night wraps around you, remember that this